Hey, this is Miss M, and today we are working on place value with a rounding strategy, part 3 of NBT 1. Let's go! So when working with place value, a strategy that we can use is a number line. So if we're going to round to the nearest 10, our first number is 566. So in my number line, I would have 60 at the beginning and then 70 at the end of the line. And then each one in the middle, so you would say 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. So I have a dot here at 65 to tell me it's my halfway point. And then my actual number is 66. So I'm going to put a dot right there. So that's my number 66. So if I look at my halfway point right here, and I look at my number 66, I then just have to ask myself, is 66 closer to 70 or closer to 60? If my halfway point is 65 and my number is 66, then my number has to be closer to 70. So I could then round my number to 570. Let's try the next one. So our number is 70,109. And once again, we're rounding to the nearest 10. So on my number line, if I look at where my 10 is, it's a 0. So I'm going to start my number line at 0, and I'm going to go all the way to 10. Once again, if I want to find my halfway point to help me, I can do that, because this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's my halfway point, and my number is 0. So if my halfway point is here, and my actual number is 0, am I closer to 0 or am I closer to 10 where I would round up? Well, of course 0 is closer to 0, so my new number, rounded number, would be 70,100. Let's go to the third one. Our number is 6,226. So if I complete my number line, I'm going to start at 20 because the number we are rounding is in the 2, and the highest it can go is to 30. So let's find our number. So we have 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and then 26. So I have my halfway point already. And then here's where my actual number is. So once again, if it's past the halfway point, then that means I'm going to round up because it's closer to 30 in comparison to 20. So my new rounded number is 6,230. Let's go to the next one. So these next couple ones are going to be rounded to the nearest 100. So I have 566. And so if I look at my hundreds place, I have my 5. So in my number line, I have 500 all the way to 6. We're going by 10. So we would have 510, 520, 530, 540, 550, 560, 570, 580, 590, all the way to 600. So I have my midpoint here, and my number is 66. So my number is actually right over there. So if I'm past my midpoint, that always means I'm closer to rounding up. So 566 is closer to 600 than it is to 500. So my new rounded number is 600. Next one, we have 70,109. So when I completed my number line, I'm going to start at 100 because we're rounding to the nearest 100, and I'm going to go to 200. Once again, I found my midpoint, which is 150. And if I look at my number, it says 109, which means I'm right over here. So am I closer to 100 or am I closer to 200? Well, if I look at my number line, I'm below the halfway point. So I'm closer to 100. So my new rounded number is 70,100. And the last one, we have 6,226. Well, because we're rounding to the nearest 100, which is in the 2, so we're going to say we can go from 200 to 300 with my midpoint being 250. So let's find where 226 is on my number line. It's right over here. And it's still below my halfway point, which means we are going to round it to, or it's going to stay at 200. So our new rounded number is 6,200. Great job. I hope that helps. This time I want you to use the rounding strategy. So I want you to try these out on your own. So go ahead and pause the video here. When I look at 645 and I look at my nearest tens place. My 10 is a 4, but my ones place is a 5, which means I can round up because 45 is closer to 50 than it is to 40. So my new number would be 650. For my 2,972, if I look at my tens place, it's a 7, which is a 70. My one place is a 2. So what I'm asking myself is 72 closest to 70 or 80? And of course, 72 is closer to 70. So my new number is 2,970. For my third and last one for my nearest 10, we have 88,188. The number in the tens place value is 8, which means it's an 80, and my ones place is an 8. So I'm asking myself, is 88 closer to 80 or closer to 90? Well, 88 is closer to 90, which means my new rounded number is 88,190. Now let's go to rounding to the nearest hundreds, the same numbers, but it's still going to change. So we have 645. So now we're looking at the hundreds place, which is a 6, which represents 600. So what I'm asking myself is 645 closer to 700 or closer to 600? 650 would be my halfway point, which means 645 does not touch the halfway point. Therefore, 645 is going to be rounded to 600. It is closer to 600 than to 700. So in the next one, I have 2,972. In the hundreds place, I have 900. In my tens place, I have a 7. So I'm looking at 97. So I'm asking myself, is 97 closest to 100 or closest to 0? Well, 97 is very close to 100. So that means our new number is going to go up by 1, which makes it 3,000, because 200 or 2,972 is closest to 3,000. And our last one is 88,188. We have a 1 in the hundreds place, representing 100, and an 8 in the tens place. So what we're asking ourselves here is 188, is that closer to 200 or is it closer to 100? Well, 188 is definitely closer to 200 than it is to 100. So our new number would be 88,200. I hope you did phenomenal on your practice items. Great job. Way to go today. So just know that you can do hard things. I want you to say it to yourself. I can do hard things. So I hope you discovered and learned. And if these videos are helpful to you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace and love.